This is part 9 on my video series on Mount Meru being at the North Pole, and in this video I'm going to present further evidence supporting my conclusions in my videos about Mount Meru being at the North Pole. Now the evidence I want to put forward is this YouTube video called What's It Like at the Centre of the Earth, Horizon, the Core. And the description of the video reads, the Earth's inner core is made of iron nickel alloy, but what happens to it under the immense temperatures and pressures found there? Professor Kei Hirose spent 10 years devising an experiment to recreate these extreme conditions. Now, I was lucky enough to watch the whole episode on our local cable TV, and there's a short video on YouTube that I'd highly recommend watching, so I'll put the link to that in my description of my video. What it captured me about this video is he's got a slide up here showing 2 rings, okay, and that's, from what I can make out of his experiment, that's, I'm not exactly sure what that is, but it's very interesting. In the middle, it's this is where the crystals form, and he believes that crystals are forming at the centre of the Earth that could potentially be 10 kilometres high. Now what he also refers to is that they all point to the North Pole, which well, aligns quite nicely with all the conclusions I've put forward in my videos, and surprisingly it actually matches up with the descriptions of Mount Meru in the Hindu texts. So very interesting video. I'd highly recommend you watch it. And he shows us these crystals being formed, and surprisingly they sort of remind me of a day jet as well. So anyway, let's compare the rings to some of the other photos that I've presented before, so you can make an accurate comparison. Now I've presented this image before of Borobudur, and you'll notice that you've got the 3 rings that is very similar to Professor Kei's experiment. We've got Mount Meru in the middle, and surprisingly I just realised that they've got these staircases on each side. There's 4 staircases. It's a bit hard to tell in this photo. I'll see if I can show you another photo that captures that. Now here's another image of Borobudur. It's obviously a drawing of it, but you can see here the 4 staircases actually match up with the 4 rivers on the Mercator map. So let's have a quick look at that. Again, the Mercator map, which I've put forward in my previous videos, it's my conclusion that that's Mount Meru, and you've got these 4 rivers, which is referred to in the John D material as the indrawing seas. So that matches up quite nicely with the image of Borobudur. Now it's not. Now what I've put forward in my previous videos, these mountain ranges around here form a ring. Obviously this bit here is underwater, and it's not quite obvious, but these mountain ranges, there's obviously hasn't been captured in this map, but there's 3 or more mountain ranges that, depending on the water levels, will look like rings. So obviously at some point the water levels a bit higher, and all you can see is the rings from these mountain ranges. Okay, now this is an image I've put forward before. Shambhala matches up very nicely with Professor Kei's experiment. You got the 2 rings of the mountain ranges, mountain in the middle. It's you know, this is, in my mind, this is where you've obviously got a magnetic rock mountain at the top, and presumably there's crystals underneath going into the inner earth. Again, the image of from Norse mythology, Yggdrasil. Again, you've got these rings of mountain ranges out here. Snake eating its tail, symbolising resurrection. Rivers going up to a mountain. You've got the world tree. So you sort of start to wonder whether this tree is actually representing the crystals that go into inner earth. Now here's another map that shows the mountain ranges in a little bit more detail. You can see that they form a ring, so you can imagine as the sea levels rise and shrink, depending on whether you're in a mini ice age or not, you're going to see ranges, mountain ranges forming rings around these 4 continents. So you've got these indrawing seas. That matches up perfectly from the John Dee material, where King Arthur and his crew sailed their boats into the indrawing sea up to Mount Meru, Avalon, and where he apparently remained to be healed from his battle wounds. Finally, you got the typical image of Atlantis image, but the mountain in the middle is missing. So according to the book Cretius, there should be a small mountain here, which matches up perfectly with our description of Mount Meru and Professor Kei's experiment and the Mercator map and all the other maps. And then you got this image that someone's put together of apparently Atlantis. Interestingly enough, you got these 4 intersections here with the matches up quite nicely with the Mercator map. Rivers coming in, small mountain, castle on the top.